Bob Marley was a Jamaican singer, musician, and songwriter who is considered as one of the pioneers of reggae. He fused elements of reggae, ska, and rocksteady and was renowned for his distinctive vocal and songwriting style. He became known as a Rastafarian icon, and he infused his music with a sense of spirituality. He is considered a global symbol of Jamaican music and culture and identity and was controversial in his outspoken support for democratic social reforms. He advocated for Pan-Africanism. Bob Marley was born on the 6th of February, 1945 in Jamaica. His father Norval Sinclair Marley was a white Jamaican and his mother Cedella Malcolm was the granddaughter of Robert Malcolm, who descended from slaves shipped to Jamaica from the Gold Coast, today known as Ghana. Bob Marley loomed large as a political figure and in 1976 survived what was believed to have been a politically motivated assassination attempt. The Smile Jamaica concert, at which Marley and his band members the Wailers performed, was held on December 5, 1976. The concert was initially framed as a political celebration of community that came to be widely viewed as an endorsement of the incumbent Prime Minister, Michael Manley, of the People's National Party. Manley sought to capitalize on that perception by following the announcement of the concert with a call for legislative elections. 2 days before the concert, a group of gunmen, perhaps seeking to punish Marley for his supposed support of Manley, broke into Marley's home and wounded Rita Marley, Bob Marley's manager, Don Taylor, an employee of the band, and Marley himself. Shortly after performing the concert, Marley fled Jamaica, first to the Bahamas and then to London, where he lived in exile for a period and recorded Exodus. Exodus was hailed by Time magazine as the most important album of the 20th century, a political and cultural nexus, drawing inspiration from the Third World and then giving voice to it. The world 78. According to some observers, Jamaica was on the brink of civil war, and Marley's attempts to broker a peace deal between the country's warring political factions led in April of that year to his headlining the One Love Peace concert. At the concert, Marley brought together Prime Minister Manley and his political adversary Edward Seager of the Jamaica Labour Party, who would become Prime Minister in 1980. Marley's socio-political influence also earned him an invitation to perform in 1980 at the ceremonies celebrating majority rule and internationally recognized independence for Zimbabwe. Bob Marley passed away on the 15th of May, 1981, shortly after baptism into the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. According to the medical report, he died from cancer that started under his big toenail in 1977. When a dark spot appeared under his toenail, Marley attributed it to a soccer injury. Eventually, he was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive type of skin cancer called acral lentiginous melanoma, ALM. Marley rejected his doctor's advice to have his toe amputated, which would have hindered Marley's performing career, citing his religious beliefs. Instead, the nail and nail bed were removed, and a skin graft was taken from his thigh to cover the area. Despite his illness, Marley continued touring and was in the process of scheduling a 1980 world tour. On the 21st of September, 1980, Marley collapsed while jogging in a park and was taken to a hospital, where it was found that his cancer had spread to his brain, lungs, and liver. He died at the age of 36, due to the spread of melanoma to his lungs and brain. Marley's final words to his son Ziggy were, "On your way up, take me up. On your way down, don't let me down." At the time of his death, there were countless conspiracy theories about the cause of his death that were believed by his fans. Through time, the impact of the theories about the circumstances leading up to his death have waned. However, decades after the death of Bob Marley, the conspiracy theory of his death was revived when a report posted online by YourNewsWire.com stated that a former CIA agent had confessed to Bob Marley's murder. According to the report, a CIA agent by the name of Bill Oxley claimed to have caused the death of Bob Marley. Oxley is quoted as saying he acted as a New York Times photographer to get close to Marley at his Blue Mountains retreat in Jamaica. According to the report, Oxley gave to Marley a pair of shoes with a 10 cm nail as a present. The nail in the shoe was tainted with cancer viruses and bacteria. When he tried to put his foot straight into the sneaker, he let out a loud scream. That was it. His life was over there, and then the nail in the shoe was contaminated with viruses and cancer bacteria. If it penetrated the skin, it did it. The report stated that on his deathbed, 79-year-old Oxley to have claimed that Marley was one of the 17 people he killed for the CIA between 1974 and 1985. He claims that he had no problem carrying out the murder of Bob Marley, saying, "I was a patriot, I believed in the CIA, and I did not question the agency's motivation. I have always understood that sometimes sacrifices must be made for the greater good." The report stated Mr. Oxley confessed that Bob Marley remains unique among his victims, as he was the only victim he'd felt something. The others were dead. Bob Marley was Bob Marley. "I've never been the type to like men with long hair, but I have to admit that I like Bob's music." He claims to have mixed feelings about Bob Marley's death. On the one hand, Marley was a good man, a beautiful soul with profound artistic gifts who did not deserve to have his life cut short. But, according to Mr. Oxley, Bob Marley was endangering the CIA's objectives and threatening the existence of the United States. He was creating a revolution that used music as a more powerful tool than bullets and bombs. Bob Marley in 1976 was a very serious threat to the global status quo and to the hidden power agents implementing their plan for a new world order. As far as the agency was concerned, Bob Marley was very successful, very popular, very influential. A Jamaican Rastaman who began using his funds and fame to support causes around the world that were in direct conflict with the CIA. To be honest, he signed his own death warrant. It's not like we didn't warn him. We sent some people to shoot his house in Kingston, Mr. Oxley says, referring to a night of shooting at the Marley mansion that left the singer with an injured arm and chest. "We had a message for him. We impressed upon him the importance of the situation in which he found himself. He didn't listen." According to the report, the last time Oxley saw Bob before he died, he had taken off the cases, and his weight had dropped significantly. Oxley says Marley was very withdrawn, very small. "He dwindled before us. Cancer had done its job. The day he died in Miami was definitely one of the hardest moments of my career. I felt really bad. For a long time I did not feel good about his death. But eventually I realized that it had to be done, for America," concludes the 79-year-old Bill Oxley. However, Channel 4 Television and Snopes website, which is a fact-checking website, debunked the report and said that no Bill Oxley associated with the CIA could be found. The original article about CIA killing Bob Marley says Bill Oxley was a patient at Mercy Hospital in Maine, America. But he's not, says Channel 4. According to Channel 4, a phone call was made to the hospital, but the hospital responded that there was no one there by that name. Nor were they aware of anyone called Oxley who had been a patient there in weeks before that. If you wanted to assassinate someone, this would be a really bad way of doing it, says Channel 4. It might be possible to induce cancer in someone by infecting them with a virus known to cause cancer. Certain virus and bacteria have been shown to increase the chances of developing types of cancer in the long term, but the research was in its infancy at the time of Marley's death, says Channel 4. As Channel 4 points out, if the CIA had wanted to murder Marley without raising suspicion, it would have been quicker and easier to use ricin, cyanide, or even radiation poisoning. But trying to give him cancer would be far more difficult and far less effective. Snopes' website also stated that while the ultimate cause of death, cancer, would certainly have the benefit of preventing suspicions among the people about any foul play, it can take years for a person to die from cancer. This would undermine one of the principal purposes of an assassination, to quickly stop Bob Marley from doing or saying something. The arguments forwarded by Channel 4 and Snopes' website seem to be convincing. However, it is also difficult to rule out the reports of the conspiracy theorists. When one takes into consideration the alleged involvement of CIA in the assassination attempt of Bob Marley in 1976, it becomes necessary to give the benefit of the doubt to what are claimed to be the words of Bill Oxley. Therefore the question still remains, did Bob Marley die from cancer or was he silenced by the CIA?